Hey guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with my favorite dark romances, and this is part 2. So I've done one, I think like 6 or 7 months ago, and I talked about some of my favorite dark romances, and I'm here again with some more recommendations since it is like a dark time in the fall and Halloween and October. And if you're like me, then you don't like reading straight up fiction and thriller, mystery, whatever. You like some romance added in there. And so my favorite dark romances all have really dark themes about them. So bad things happen, bad situations happen, these characters aren't always good people, but there's a really great romance and I just am addicted to reading them. So here are some of my favorite dark romances. The first one I have for you is Becoming Colder by Mia Sheridan. So this book, you're like, Mia Sheridan, a dark romance, what? But this book is about a cult. And so around this time, I was reading like It Ain't Me Babe by Tilly Cole and then this book, and I was like, give me all the cult romances, because cults are so weird to me. It's like makes me uncomfortable and like scares me about how cults exist. Like, how do people fall into that? And so this one is about a romance that takes place in a cult. Calder is a member of the cult, and he falls in love with the chosen one for their leader. And so she has been the moment that they found her, they have been prepping her to be the one who saves them all by marrying their cult leader. And so he's in love with her. Big no-no, because she is like their savior, and it's their romance. Crazy things happen. They have to hide their romance. I mean, it's a cult with corrupt people, so bad things happen. And he is so frustrated because he loves someone he can't have. And the ending, I don't know if I just said this, the ending's insane. There's a book 2 that I haven't read yet because there's a cliffhanger, and I'm like, oh my god. But book 2's out already, so if you read this, go read book 2. And it's crazy, and you all should read it. The next one I've been talking about a lot because I recently read it and it's been relevant in like a lot of my recent videos. It's just on the one I posted on Sunday, so sorry not sorry, I'm talking about it again. But I've mentioned this author's previous books in a previous video in the dark romances before, but she's written a new one now, and that is Persian by T.M. Fraser. Her King series, dark, gritty, amazing. You should read it, but I recommended that last time. Perversion's her newest release, and it is a trilogy, and this one has a cliffhanger, so book 2 is coming out in November. And this one is about a girl and a guy who meet when they're in foster care, and they only meet once, and then he is determined to find her again because they had this just intense connection. Nothing happened when they met. She was 12 and he was 16, but now they're older. I want to say like 6 years have passed, 5 years, I feel like it's 5 or 6, and they are on opposite sides of a gang war, and she is in a place where she did not choose to be there. He has found a family with his people, so it's their romance. It's a forbidden romance, it's an angsty romance, it's a dangerous romance. Bad things happen to our characters, very bad things, and there's a cliffhanger. So yeah, you should check it out. The next book I have for you is Moonshot by Alessandra Torrey. This one was such a shock to me. It's a baseball romance, but it's also a murder mystery and kind of a thriller. And so it's about our main character. I think her name's Ty, and her dad has always played for the Yankees, and so she has always been around the guys and that lifestyle. And then Chase comes on as a hotshot baseball, I cannot think of the sport, hotshot baseball player, and everyone knows his reputation, and her dad is like, stay away from my daughter. They fall for each other, but something happens where they can't be together, and we jump like 6 years, 5 years, like it's just like randomly in the middle. They're like, okay, JK, we're gonna jump forward 5 years, and I'm like, what? And someone is killing all these women every time the Yankees lose the playoffs to go to the World Series, and it happens like 3 years in a row, and they have to figure out who it is. And it's really good, and there's a really angsty, amazing romance, and a really terrifying thriller, so you should read it. The next series you guys are annoyed at me talking about all the time, and that is the Black Dagger Brotherhood series, specifically books 3 and 4. I'm in the middle of book 4 now, and bad things happen to our men, and I'm like, please stop being so mean to them. So Zadis has been a broken, damaged man in the first 2 books, and we finally get his perspective, and we get flashbacks of what happened to him. Bad things had happened to him, and his love interest, bad things happened to her in this book, and so they're kind of trying to get over that. He's trying to love again. Book 4 is Butch's story. In the beginning of the story, bad things are happening to Butch, and you're like, stop being mean to him, please. And he's dealing with a lot of dark things in the book, and so if you want a really dark, gritty romance that is amazingly romance, you should read the series. Even though it is vampires, Like, there are vampires, sorry if you don't like vampires, but it's like the best vampire romance ever, and they're dark and amazing. The next one I've recommended before as well, but not in a dark romance. It's one of my favorite romances of all time now, and that is Raised by Tilly Cole. I've not continued the series for some reason, even though it's like one of my all-time favorite books ever now. And it's about a girl who is part of a mafia family, I think. Yeah. And the boy that she was really had strong feelings for was killed when they were younger, and so she has been dating this other boy who is really disgustingly horrible and like abuses her, and she stays in that relationship though because she's been primed for it basically, and he would be even worse without her, so she's like sacrificing herself to be with him to calm him down. And there's this underground fighting ring, and we get a perspective of this new fighter who has no memory of whoever he was, and he literally only knows fighting, and so he's been trained to be a killer, and then he is like escapes and is let out, and he only knows the name of one person he's supposed to kill, who is the reason why he's there, and it's that girl's boyfriend. So the romance is between the girl and that fighter. Surprise, surprise. And it's so good. There's a lot of fighting and dark and gritty things. She's in an abusive relationship, and it's very graphic, so beware of that, but it's amazing. The next one is actually a new adult romance by one of my favorite authors, and that is Too Late by Colleen Hoover. This is actually under C. Hoover because of how dark this book is. She did this independently and then on Wattpad, and then she released it in a paperback. And this is about a girl who will do anything for those she loves, and that includes being in an abusive relationship. And we don't know why until a little bit later on in the book, but she's falling in love with someone else. And she's terrified of what's going to happen if her current boyfriend figures out about that and what that means for the rest of her life and her family. So, very dark. Again, she's in an abusive relationship, so beware of that going in. But I love the guy she was falling for so much. I can't say anything else about him. I can't really say anything without spoiling it, but this is a great dark romance, and you guys should read it. And those are more of my favorite dark romances. I will link the previous video down below for you guys to check out. Let me know some of your favorite dark romances. I would love to hear. As always, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day. Bye.